it a few hours before kickoff, probably until like 12:30 or so, or however live is going. But we got some things going on for week, which is good to see. I am doubled up on YouTube and TikTok, so I'll answer questions on both. I'll take priority on YouTube, but if you're on TikTok, jump to YouTube as well. Its link is in my bio. So here I got pick 2, Olave, Pittman, Reed, Jameson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Keenan Allen. I mean, I would probably go with the reliability of the known there and just go Olave for sure than Pittman. Jameson is more upside for flex, but I like that. Marvin Harrison Jr. waiting to see, but I could see him coming back this week. I can see that happening. All right, guys, on live right now. Make sure to jump in the chat and ask your start-sit questions. Lots going on this week. Looking at the rankings over here at 4for4 Fantasy Football, and I'll just read off the running backs, and I'll just take in the questions on both streams here. I'm multi-streaming on TikTok, YouTube. So they got Breece Hall as the RB1 in PPR. 2 is Bijan against Philly. Saquon at 3 against Atlanta. We got Kyron Williams against the Rams. Jahmyr Gibbs at 5 versus Tampa Bay. Let me know what you feel about any of those. I'm multi-streaming, so I can't really jump on many streams with other people. So I'm on different platforms right now. So thank you, though. But we're seeing a lot going on here. I'm going to jump on Twitter, see if there's any news. Big news the other day, Hollywood Brown looks like he's not going to be playing this season. Looks like he's going to be out. I had to make some moves with him. Ayuk or Diggs? That's a good question. I think both of them are going to get reps in this game. I think both of them are going to get opportunities. I feel like the volume is going to be a little bit better for Diggs. Xavier Worthy or Devonta Smith? Devonta Smith is safer. Xavier Worthy more upside. What up, Hunter Cole? What's going on? DK or Neighbors? I think I like Neighbors better in his matchup. Thank you guys for the questions. Pickens or DJ Moore? Pickens is guaranteed like 5 targets a week. They're going to get a good average depth of target there. Pickens or Hugh? Pickens or, what was it again? Pickens or DJ Moore? DJ Moore is going to get the opportunity there because Keenan Allen's been banged up. Rome Odunze banged up. I think they're both good, safe option for workload. You're good with either or, so if your gut tells you one or the other, you're good. If it was me, I would go DJ Moore, but it's close. I had to think really hard. Brian Thomas or McConkey? Brian Thomas is probably going to get some decent volume with Palmer being banged up, but looks like he's scheduled to play. Brian Thomas Jr., I do not like his situation too great. The Chargers are never going to be in a great situation, but McConkey was able to get targets. If I want to play it safe, I'll go McConkey because I feel the good availability for the targets, but I'd shoot for upside for Brian Thomas Jr. because he could bring in one of those deep bombs because he gets a good average depth target. Should be over the long term. Last week it was around like 9.5, but his ADOT should be good, but that was not a great matchup for him. If I need the upside, I'm going Brian Thomas Jr. If I need to play safe because my lineup's Studley, then I'm going the other way. Xavier Worthy or Brian Thomas Jr. Xavier Worthy is a little bit safer. Jaden Daniels or Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray. Dell or Pollard. Running back versus wide receiver. If you're playing to save Pollard because guaranteed running back touches, I believe Dell's going to have more upside. Javonte or Bigsby. Javante's a little bit safer. I believe he's going to get some opportunity early in this matchup. I think it's kind of a push, though. So you can go either way. Lamar or Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson, there's a good chance that they're going to be up in this game. In YouTube, just drop your comments and questions in the chat. I'm going to be answering you guys as well. So I'm just multi-streaming on both streams. Scrolling the chat here. So on TikTok, it's a feast of questions right now. Pacheco, Mason, pick 2. Mason and Pacheco for sure. MHG, Marvin Harrison, Pickens, Jordan Mason for 1. Went by too fast. Pickens, I think. Anthony Richardson or Hurts? Good question. Good question. Why you got two great quarterbacks? I would probably be working the deal one to get more opportunity on that roster. I would go with Richardson. Start one. Pollard, Swift, or Terry. Pollard, Swift, Terry. Pollard, Swift. I feel a little safer with Pollard. Jamar, DJ, Brian Robinson. Pick two. Jamar and DJ. Jaden Daniels at AR-15. AR-15. J-Mo or McConkey. McConkey, if you want to play it safe. J-Mo, if you're shooting for upside. And what I mean by that, if my lineup's great and I got a safer player and I'm Studley, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, I feel good about McConkey getting targets and opportunity. But I feel good J-Mo any given week could go off. He had that juice last week. So if you need that juice and you're not worried about the floor, because that could happen because I'm on Ross St. Brown, same Laporta, target, then I'd go for that. However, if you're in a situation where you just need some points, you need like 10, 8, 9, then I'd go McConkey. Thank you guys for the comments and the questions on YouTube. Tyler Sperry. Let me move my window here a little better so you can see it. Start Brandon Cooks, Dortch, or Ty Johnson. I feel safer with Brandon Cooks, and the next option would be Dortch, but I feel a little safer with Brandon Cooks. MH, 8 team, 1 QB, 2 RB, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, a flex. Trade to consolidate. Stevenson, Ford. Okay, who to deal to consolidate, MH? This is what I would do in this situation. This is what I would do usually in Dynasty Fantasy Football is I'd just start kicking the tires. I'd start looking at other teams and what I want from those teams to make my team better and see if I can formulate a package. I wouldn't look at it in the realm of just which players should I deal. I look at all the rosters in my league. I am projected to lose by 29 points because HN, who has more upside in his lineup. Okay, so with your lineup, okay, what I would do and probably some of your lineup decisions shoot for upside, but for your trade consideration to consolidate, I would look at all the lineups in your league and then or all the rosters in your league and look for a player that you can just add or trade for that could give you immediate boost and do a package and then do that and maybe scoop a guy off waivers, and especially try and shoot for a guy since you're an 18-team league. Try and package your players up for a guy that can consistently get in about top 10-ish in his position, top 8. You don't want to get guys top 15, top 20 in an 8-teamer because the realm of that upside is more of what you're shooting for. And also an 18-teamer, the teams and lineups will be a little bit better compared to like a 12er. So you're going to have to like look for a player that's more consistent for getting there. So I wouldn't be opposed to dealing a couple to 3 players for that one that's really good, that can get consistent availability. And then you can shoot for upside off the waiver wire and maybe turn and burn those players every week. That's what I would do from a strategy standpoint. Flex Singletary, Sutton, or Josh Palmer. It's between Singletary and Sutton. Sutton gets deep targets and he gets a lot of workload, but the targets, it's Bo Nix, and Bo Nix likes to spray it over the middle and check it down a bit. And you also got Singletary there. I think between Singletary is going to get workload, and it's going to be there for sure. I think I'd go Sutton. I think I'd play it safe. If I want to set my lineup with a couple condoms on, I'd go with Singletary, but I think I'm going to go with Sutton if it was me setting the lineup. All right, live creation. Your second one. Start Flowers versus Vegas or Ladd versus Carolina. Flowers is a little bit safer because of more of the known with him in an offense. He's going to get peppered over with some targets over the middle. I feel good about that. I think the Carolina matchup's fascinating because of what we saw last week. If you're in a position where you need to shoot for more of that unknown upside, then I'd go Ladd. I think I'd play it safe with Flowers and probably most of my lineups that I have. But if I had some iffy lineups that like at running back or wide receiver, I'm kind of hurting at or something, and I need to shoot for more upside, then I'd go Lad McConkey. Etienne, hey, Jack, what's going on? Etienne and Waddle or Kamara? Etienne and Waddle or Kamara and Devonta Smith in a trade. Talking redraft, right? So if we're talking redraft, because you don't have to worry about the quarterback issue with Miami, we do not know how long that's going to be, whether it's a few weeks or for the rest of the season. That is a big thing for Devonta Smith. Etienne and Kamara might be just an even swap when you're just looking at pure production, honestly. If I knew what was going on with Tua, I'd stick with Waddle and Etienne. Since I don't know, I'd probably go Devonta and Kamara, especially since redraft-wise, it's a sprint to the finish. If it's Dynasty, because I get a lot of Dynasty because that's what I do over pretty much not 24/7, I would go the other route with Etienne Waddle. Scott Drummond, how's it going? Jacobs, Connor, Stevenson, pick 2. Let me double check that Cardinals matchup. Let me double check the Cardinals matchup. For some reason, we got the Rams. We got upside there. Rams versus running backs. Oh, we got last year's stuff up. Let's see what they did. Sit down this energy drink real quick for you. Rams. Per game of running backs. Was Connor. I feel like my gut's going Connor. Stevenson saved Jacobs. You got a good one there. It's a toss-up between Stevenson and Connor. I think Stevenson and Jacobs if I had to pick the two. But those two are a toss-up there on the back end of your list. All right, Richie Rich, start 3. Kirk McConkey. Demarcus Robinson, Isaiah Likely. I think I'd go Kirk McConkey, Demarcus Robinson. Let's see. Start Smith or Rashad White. My gut just went to Rashad White, but I want to look up stuff real quick. I think I'd go with Rashad White. I think there's an opportunity that he gets work in the passing game and his workload's safe to where he's going to get you something. If you want to shoot for upside due to A.J. Brown injury and maybe targets get funneled to Devonta Smith, but he also might get locked down in that matchup too, and it's got a high over-under, and you want to shoot for the upside, I wouldn't hate on it, but I feel safer with Rashad White catching some checkdowns and getting some work up the gut. Sup, Chomix? Thank you for watching. Thank you all for watching. Need some advice. Half PPR flex, Neighbors or Charbonnet? What I would do there with that, Neighbors versus Charbonnet. Charbonnet's a little bit safer because he's going to get workload. And if I think about Charbonnet and the potential outcomes here for this matchup, I would go leaning him scoring about 10-ish points to 12-ish unless he scores multiple touchdowns. Hey, buddy. But I think I'd shoot for Neighbors. I think the target's going to be there. I think he's going to get a good 20-ish% target share in this matchup. I think the target's going to be deep downfield. I think they're going to make it a priority to get him targeted. And it was last week, got 7 targets, right? And a good target share. Let's see. What's next here? It was, let's see, Kyle Stroud, Ayuk, or Brian Thomas Jr. I feel a little bit safer with Brian Thomas Jr. I feel a little bit safer with Ayuk. Sorry, I feel a little safer with Ayuk. He's going to be out there running routes. I think the ball's going to go his way. He was down last week, but I think we're going to get right on that one. Brian Thomas Jr.'s got that Browns matchup, and I'm not 100% safe with that considering we're going into the second game. Hey, I'm going to be right back. Come on, buddy.
What?
Come here, buddy.
What?
Hey, you having fun?
Mm.
Hey, yeah, that's nasty. Hey,
Huh?
go find your mommy, okay?
That's nasty.
Hey, go find your mommy, okay? Yep. There you go. Yeah. All right, I'm back, guys. So, where were we? We were around Brian Thomas Jr. and Ayuk. So, what's up, Bryce? Also, thank you for the question, Kyle Stroud. What's up, man? Dobbins or Rashad White? Then I'd go Rashad White, and then Flowers or London. Here's the thing about Flowers in London is there's a lot of unknown with the Falcons right now from what we saw with Kirk Cousins. And that could really impact things. And also, that this ball might be flying against the Eagles. This might be a high-scoring game. There's a lot more upside with London. I think Flowers a little safer. If it was me setting the lineup, I'd shoot for the upside with London. But also, I realize there's fancy points and some stability with Flowers. But if it was me with this coin flip situation, so if your gut tells you the other way, you do it. I think I'd go with London. What's up, Live Creation? I have AJ Brown on Monday. Risk starting Jaden Reed instead with Willis at QB, or grab Dotson off waivers if AJ doesn't play. I think that really all depends on what your gut says. Because honestly, AJ Brown, he could just be back and just be rolling, and we make this move, and we're just going off our intuition off an injury that we don't know about. ETN over Dobbins. ETN over Dobbins, dude. But what I think here in this situation is it's a gut check because you don't know what's going to happen with that injury. The safe move is Jaden Reed. That is a very safe move. You do not know what's going to happen with Jahan Dotson. He has not been in that offense long. You do not know how much of that offense he has grasped. You do not know what they're going to do with that. I imagine they'd use Saquon a lot. I imagine they're going to run Saquon to death, use him in the passing game, that they're going to have to run through Saquon if you really think about that. Get targets to Goddard over the middle, Devonta Smith, the intermediate to deeper targets, and a lot of target share in that matchup. I look for that. Dotson has to be on the field running routes. But it all stems on A.J. Brown, the injury, which is an unknown. I mean, how big of an unknown Christian McCaffrey was. I would roll with your gut on that one. And only your gut would know. My gut is saying grab Dotson and hope A.J. Brown plays. I'd look into more news. Unless your gut's saying Jaden Reed. Because it's all about that injury. It's all about that injury. If he's on the field, I think he's going to be all right. That injury all of a sudden just came up. He might be fine. That's the thing about that. There's too much unknown there. The line just changed for Seattle and New England. But Kyle Stroud, Ayuk, Brian Thomas Jr., Metcalf, pick 2. Safe play is Ayuk and Metcalf. And then if you want to go YOLO, switch out Metcalf for Brian Thomas Jr. Hello, Miggy. How you doing this morning? Rashad White or Shaw Urban A? I feel a little bit safer with Rashad White. I like this matchup too. I think for his passing volume, I think it's going to be looking good for him. Thoughts on me having 3 Lions on my fan? I think this is a great matchup. Gibbs, Monty. I think this is a great matchup to do this. I mean, you're going against Tampa Bay, 51.5 over-under. I mean, a lot of these high over-unders this year has been hitting the under, so don't expect them to score exactly like 50-some points. Maybe it's like around 46, 47, 45. I mean, the Dolphins-Bills game hit the under for sure. That missed hard. But expect these games that are supposed to be high-scoring when you have a 3-pack like that of players to do well for you. I'd go ETN over Devontae Adams. Joey B. For that one, Patterson. Next one, I do. What's going on, Chomix? Thoughts? Okay, I read that one. Miggy, Neighbors, Rashad White, Tank Dell for flex. That's a good group of players to have for your flex. So Neighbors or Rashad White, that is the coin flip there. Rashad White, if you want to play it safe, because I feel like workload's going to be guaranteed in that matchup, and I think there is some upside there. I think Neighbors if you want to shoot for pure upside, because he's going to be getting targets workload. He'll have a 20% target share. It's just all on Danny Dimes and how bad. If you hate Danny Dimes, go Rachaad White. If you're okay with that and you love Neighbors, go with Neighbors in the flex. My gut split on that. Rachaad White I like as a safer option. I feel safe with him. And usually when it comes to fantasy rankings, you lean toward the running back, especially in PBR if they catch his passes out of backfield. I like Neighbors as well. I like both that. You're in a great situation and you can pick either one and you're good. But I like the fact that you got Neighbors and Rachaad White to choose from there. If that tells you anything. And they're both probably going to hit and do well for you. Neighbors or White, if I had to pick one gun to my head. I mean, if my lineup's looking great, I'm going Rachaad White. If I need to gamble a little bit more upside, Neighbors. Charlie Best, Adonai Mitchell, Keenan Allen, or Zamir White, pick one. Look at this Raiders game real quick. Raiders, Ravens. Zamir White, if I need to be guaranteed scored fantasy points, and I'm talking like 8 or more, if I want to and fantasy points, Mitchell might catch a couple balls, but there's going to be a couple deep balls, and it just matters. I'd go with Aaron Jones, Caesar, and then Worthy, Neighbors, Dell, Charbonnet. Neighbors for sure. Next one down, Charlie Best did that one. So JD4, what's up? Should I drop Tyler G for AD Mitchell? The only reason why you'd want Tyler Algier is if Bijan Robinson went down, and it's really hard to project injuries. And if Bijan Robinson went down, I do not see Tyler Algier being an RB1 week in and week out and consistent. Like, he wouldn't be a league winner. AD Mitchell is going to give you that upside week to week as a gamble flex play, where he's going to be getting those deep targets. And like we saw last week, we just missed on 2. If we bring in 2 today, like that's going to be a week winning guy for your lineup. And that's going to be off and on all season. And that's going to be a big headache for you if you're not used to playing the matchups. If you're good at playing the matchups and you grind that, AD Mitchell's a great guy to have on the end of your bench. A couple of those guys just to play the matchups with, along with the guys like that off the waiver wire. Those are great guys to have for DFS and playing the matchups with. You never know when they're going to hit, but usually they hit when the matchups are supposed to be high scoring. I'm talking about an over-under of 45 or more, pushing 50 points on the implied point total. You love a couple wide receivers like that on your bench. I like AD Mitchell more as a potential league winner. Tyler Algier will help you out a lot if something happens to Bijan Robinson. You never know when that's going to happen. But if you're looking for that league winner now to stash, or potential league winner, that good stash play, he is a good stash play. He's a great stash play. Live creation start T-Law against the Browns, or go Danny Dimes against Washington. Let's see what 444 says about that one. I believe they're going to say T-Law because they're a little bit more conservative. Lawrence, and then they got T-Law. They got Trevor Lawrence ranked ahead of Daniel Jones by about 8 spots. Projected 15.3. Daniel Jones 13.7 fantasy points. Of course, they got the matchup worse than the Washington matchup. Dallas had that lead, but they didn't really go off offensively like they should have, even with Deshaun Watson being really bad. And that Browns defense is no joke. It's a coin flip really situation here. My gut went Daniel Jones. That's why I had to check the rankings. Let's just say that. My gut went Daniel Jones. Is a coin flip situation. You're a little safer with Trevor Lawrence. Like, he's not going to bust. Like, there's a chance he'll bust on you because of the matchup. But you're a little safer with Trevor Lawrence. I think there's a chance that the game breaks here with New York and Washington. Like, that Cleveland game, the odds of that game breaking is not that great for it to be a high-scoring matchup. You may want to go off of that. My gut went with Daniel Jones. My gut did. I think if you want to risk not getting a goose egg on you or anything like that, Trevor Lawrence. But if you want to shoot for more upside, to go Daniel Jones. That's how I'm interpreting that as. What's up, Scott? 0.5 PPR, Jaden Reed or Wandell? I think I'd go with Jaden Reed. I think I feel good about him. I don't feel good about him. I don't feel good about Malik Willis. I just feel like he's going to get the targets and opportunity. I think Wandell could rack up a few catches. I think it's going to go more downfield. I don't think you're going to see him getting 12 targets every game. He's probably more safe around 5 to 6 to 7 a week, which Jaden Reed is too. I would go Jaden Reed in this matchup. There's a good chance this game script breaks, but it's a tight one too due to that quarterback play. A lot of unknown with that one. Michael Burnett, who should I stash for an emergency play Monday night in case Brown doesn't play? I would go Dotson. I don't think the targets are going to go to McLeod like they did against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's not good against the slot. They knew that going in. They were schemed up to do that. They're probably going to go more outside. They're probably going to test the waters more with Drake London and Kyle Pitts in this matchup. I think McLeod's, Ray's targets are going to regress to what they should be. Dotson's got more unknown, but he was out on the field in that first game. Maybe he'll get some opportunity. If I had to pick between the two, I would go Dotson. Dotson. Live creation, would you start Palmer, status healthy now, against Carolina, or Sutton against a tougher Pittsburgh defense? The thing is, it's a tougher Pittsburgh defense, but that Chargers game is supposed to be lower scoring. He's been dealing with that injury, and Harbaugh's very conservative, so he might be healthy playing, but they may roll him out. It's also kind of a coin flip, but I know Sutton's going to get a decent target share, and I know targets are going to go deep downfield. He might be blanketed, though, where those targets may not matter, and the Steelers, and the Broncos go more slot to like valet in that matchup, because that's what I do. That's what the Falcons did, and they knew that going in. They don't target the slot very well. I think if you want to play it safe workload-wise, it's Sutton. If you want to go against the matchup, then it is Palmer. But there's also not a play it safe because you do not know how much he's going to be on the field. You don't know how conservative, because you also got McConkey. Quentin Johnston was playing a lot of snaps, second most routes ran on the team last week. If it was me, I'd lean Sutton. But it's tight, so you go with your gut on that. Richard, what's up? Thank you for watching. Flowers, Neighbors, or Charbonnet, start one. Neighbors for sure for me. I'd go Neighbors. I'd go with the upside. Know the target's there, and I think that matchup could break. Is Jamo a flex start? He is every week, actually, because of the unknown upside. He's a Will Fuller type of player. Jameson Williams is. And the thing about him is that any given week, he could do what he did last week, or any given week, it could be nothing. And then similar to like a Will Fuller type of player, you got the injuries and all the other jazz mixed in. And like they are very similar in fantasy point potential scoring week in and week out. What we saw from Will Fuller during his top end run, just big time performances, low end performances, but he is every week. It really depends on what else you got and what else you got that's kind of safe. I'd go with DJ Moore, 8-ball. I'd go with Mahomes for sure. Jerome Ford or Najee McConkey. I'd feel safe with Jerome Ford. Let's see here. What else we got here? Bauer, Kittle. Mark Andrews to play safe. JMO if you want to shoot for upside. Neighbors or Devontae Neighbors. All right. Next, coming down here on the YouTube chat. Had to check TikTok real quick. So we had Flowers, Neighbors, Charbonnets, JMO. So, Robert, what's going on? Thank you for watching. Full PBR, Ford or Monty? I think they're both going to be pretty safe and good this week. I think this is a good option to have for your start sit. I think it's a good coin flip. I think Monty's in a good matchup. Ford's in a not so great matchup, but we know he's going to get the workload. We know he's going to get the looks. Monty could fall in the end zone. This is a coin flip, go with your gut scenario. If you want to know what my gut said with looking at those names, it went Monty. But it's the same thing. I like them both for what they are. I don't like them as like RB1s or top end running backs, like top 5 for the week, but I like them as in workload and the ability to score you something this week. What's up, Lope Dads? Jaden Daniel or Kyler Murray? I got that a few times. I feel safer with Kyler Murray, but I understand if you want to roll the other way. Jaden Daniels or Stroud? Stroud's safer still. I would probably roll with that. Jamar Chase over Godwin. That's a good one. That's a good question. I was wondering if I'd get some Jamar Chase questions, and I was wondering about Jamar Chase this morning. I was thinking about, so 4 for 4 got him ranked as wide receiver 13 in that Kansas City matchup, which that Kansas City defense is no joke locking down wide receivers, but they always get these high over-unders, and some games are lower scoring than what you think, and then some games are just massive shootouts. So Jamar Chase could get his get-right game, and it's just him bringing in a couple big targets. So there's risk either way there, because there's risk he could blow up for 40, and there's risk he could suck for 4. And then Godwin is in a very safe situation here. We know he's going to be on the field. We know he's going to run routes, and he's got a matchup on the road against Detroit. The last couple games, Baker Mayfield against Detroit, he averaged about, I just was looking this up last night, 200 to 250 yards passing in each one of those last couple matchups. And over-under is pretty high. It's got a 51 over-under. Vegas is saying there's potential here. Historically says that it could be sneaky to where it could be a little slower than expected. I think if you're playing it safe, go Chris Godwin. If you're playing it safe, go Chris Godwin. For me personally, I don't think I can ever bench Jamar Chase. I don't think I could ever do. I would just put him in and shoot for the upside. So it really depends on how you feel there in that situation. That's why I give you like different scenarios and just allow you to pick what you want to do from my thoughts. If it was me, I'd go Jamar Chase. If you want to play it safe, I think Chris Godwin's very safe this week. I think he's in a great situation. If you're worried about the Chiefs defense and you want to do that, I think it's fine. If a friend told me that and they did that, I wouldn't make fun of them or anything for it. Let's see here. Next one is Brandon Cooks over Christian Watson for flex. I feel very safe with Brandon Cooks. I feel like he's good for 5 targets a game. Christian Watson's in a weird situation with Malik Willis. I think Jaden Reed's probably going to get the bulk of the targets, and that may not be a great situation anyways. I might be like 3, 4, 5. I feel good with Brandon Cooks in this situation. He also gets decent targets downfield. Honestly, he's a good guy to get for your flex this week. Thank you, Robert. Thank you for watching. Shy, Burrow, or Herbert? Let's look at what 4-4 has to say, because we got that Kansas City matchup. What I think about that Kansas City matchup is it could go either way. And he could go, Burrow could just splash with the upside. They got him ranked as QB 18. They're being very conservative with him. And now let's look for Herbert here for you guys, because he's in a lower matchup too. They're right neck to neck. You got Carolina. So you have 2 storylines here. If Carolina sucks it up again this week and Herbert just gets to go off and do what he wants, or if Joe Burrow lives up to that over-under and has to push it and scores fantasy points. And it's a drop of the hat, and they're saying the same thing. They both are projected to score 15.1 PPR fantasy points, or just fantasy points in general, because the quarterbacks don't catch passes. They're both on the road. They're both in matchups where the game script could hurt them either way. The game script could be so slow that Herbert doesn't score much. Joe Burrow could get locked down by that Kansas City defense, or garbage time, he has to get pushed. So what I'm thinking is I'd go, if it was me, It's a coin flip for sure. I think I'd go Burrow and see if that game script pushes. Because that defense is locked down. I'm scared of that. And they're scared of it too. But I think that's what I would do if it was me, if I was setting lineups. Let's see. Moving down. Nicholas, what's going on? Ladd, Terry, Tankdale, half PPR, start one. I think I'd go Tankdale. I feel good. What I like about Tankdale is I know he's going to be on the field running routes, getting opportunity. There's volume in the offense. I think that's safe week to week. Terry, I want to see him marinate with the quarterback more. Ladd, I like him. It's just I feel a little bit safer with CJ Stroud and what they're doing in the offense. I got Justice Hill sitting on waivers. Do I grab him and drop Gus? You can if you want. I don't feel like I have to make that move either. I think we're kind of early. I think Gus is going to get some opportunities. I think he's in a great matchup here too this week to where Gus could gain some steam too. It's against Carolina. So if Carolina did what it does last week, then that's going to impact them. And Gus is going to get an opportunity. I'd wait a little bit more on Gus. I think Justice Hill is going to be off and on all season. I think he's more of a matchup play, not a guy you're like looking for off and on week to week for your matchups. I'm going to be right back. All right, I'm back. I had to open the door so dogs could be able to use the dog door that's sitting out there so they don't make messes in the house. And I had people bombarding the room. So what's next? I was looking at Ladd Terry. I was looking at Justice Hill. A.J. Brown's out. He's out on Monday night. Let me double check. I believe you 100%. I just want to pull it up real quick. A.J. Brown. Fantasy managers being told they should pick up Ray McLeod as a potential he's out. So make some moves on that. You got Dotson and McLeod in that. I don't look for Dotson to get the targets like he did last week because Steelers aren't great against the slot and teams want to exploit that. You got the Denver matchup this week. So Bailey is probably going to get targeted, or it's going to be Reynolds, or it might be Dolchich. But one of those guys around the middle of the field is going to get worked. And when they figure out who to go to and Bo Nix figures it out, he's going to spam it. So look for one of those wide receiver twos or Dolchich to go off on that team or do something. Maybe not off, but get extra targets at least. Flex Dobbins or Marvin. I'd go Marvin Harrison Jr. and shoot for that upside. I think they're going to have to push it to the outside more in this matchup. Last matchup was more geared towards the slot, and that was great for Dortch. Another option, if people are watching, Jeff Wilson might show up in this game, but I think Marvin Harrison might get more opportunity. I'd look at him more and be a little bit more patient with them. Airwolf, what's up? Should I keep Alan Lazard and Alec Pierce or Quentin Johnson that's sitting on waivers and he's playing Carolina? Like you're asking if you should start Quentin Johnston. I think they're all big-time coin flips. I think Alec Pierce is just going to randomly hit sporadically, and you're never going to know, and you'll probably never feel like starting him. I think Quentin Johnston is probably going to be very similar to that. So I think if I had to drop one, depending on deeper league and what's going on, I don't think Alec Pierce has to be rostered. I don't think Quentin Johnston has to be either. So if you want to get Quentin Johnston, sure, it's fine. I think he is going to get targets. Second most routes ran on the Chargers last week. He's going to be on the field running routes. Alec Pierce got a lot of competition, especially when Josh Downs comes back. He's eating about 17-18% of targets. And then you also got A.D. Mitchell, who's just going to grow into his role. Michael Pittman's going to eat up 25 to 30% of the targets, and then you run the ball a lot. So if you want to drop Pierce or Quentin Johnston, I'm fine with that. Do I start Zamir White, Tajay Spears, A.D. Mitchell, or Wan'Dale Robinson? All right, so breaking this one down, for you, Frosty Best. Zamir White, Tajay Spears, A.D. Mitchell, Wan'Dale Robinson. Your absolute safest play if you're looking at touches and just opportunity, just to get a baseline, some points whatsoever, is Zamir White. But that doesn't mean he will score the most. If you're looking for pure upside, pure speculation gamble for the week, A.D. Mitchell. If you're looking for a potential matchup to break and some targets, Wan'Dale Robinson. So when I think about those three, and I'm kind of leery on Tajay Spears sharing the backfield and the quarterback play, I want to see that play out more weeks. So if I got a lineup here and I'm set, I'm good at running back, I got studs, I'm studs at the top end at wide receiver, and I'm rolling at quarterback, I got good matchups, I got top 10 guys at all those positions, I'll probably play it safe with my lineup and hit that Zamir White button. However, if I got some questions at wide receiver, running back, one player, and if even more questions on any of those guys, I'll probably shoot for the upside of A.D. Mitchell. I'd probably do that. So that would be my answer, because it's not all like tit for tat. It's also like strategy, right? So sure, player A may score more than player B, but with the strategy of my lineup sucks at running back and wide receiver, and I got to take that gamble. The guy I'm playing with this week just has more upside with his lineup. And you know what? I got to gamble my flex with this player that could reel in 2 deep targets and score 20 fantasy points versus Zamir White, who's going to get touches and maybe score you 10. I got to take those gambles. It really depends on where you're at in that situation. So if I'm playing it safe, it goes Zamir White, A.D. Mitchell, or if you don't like the Zamir White situation, the other ancillary player would be Wan'Dale Robinson. Airwolf, Gus Edwards is great for now, but it seems like Justice has great upside versus Justice is using the passing game. I would like to see it played out more. I would like to see more opportunity there. And also, too, Derrick Henry, what happens if he goes down and how much work he gets. Because he is running with a lot of pop. He is getting used in the passing game. So, Pacheco or Kamara or Godwin or Chase, choose 3. Okay, I did the Godwin versus Chase earlier. So if you feel like you got to be absolutely safe, go Godwin. But I'm personally choosing Chase because I don't think I could ever set Chase. That being said, if it was me setting the lineup, it would be Pacheco, Kamara, Chase. If I'm trying to play it safe, I'm a little nervous because I like all 4. I'd roll with all 4, Pacheco, Kamara, Godwin. But I like all 4. If it was me shooting that shot, Pacheco, Kamara, Chase. Let's see. Bauer. Let's see. I'm going to work this chat a little bit here. I got a ton here. Jacobs versus Charbonnet, Kirk Ridley, or Deontay. I think I'd go Kirk there on that situation. All right. Evan Ingram out on pregame. Is that what we heard? Evan Ingram hurt. Thank you for the news drop. That helps a lot of people. If you got... suffered a hamstring injury in pregame warm-ups and is now out for a day. Evan Ingram out. So, dissecting Christian Kirk over the middle, some of the shorter stuff, I would see this is a tough matchup. This is tough for the Jaguars. They really needed him against Cleveland, against that nasty defense. Let's see. I'm working down the chat here. That's why I'm looking. Let's see. Meaning in season, Pacheco. Okay, next. Seahawks or Eagles defense? So the Seahawks seems like Seahawks is my gut right now. Let me double check for you. Seahawks is my gut right now, but I could be wrong. Sometimes after a bit, when you start answering questions, sometimes, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, Seahawks. There's a chance that game script breaks between the Philly and the Falcons. There's a chance. They're neck and neck in the rankings, actually, but there's a bigger chance that game script breaks. And if that game script breaks, then that could lead to more points. Where, yeah, I would go Seattle. I think it might be a little slower matchup. That's what I would roll with. Need one flex PPR for Dell, Lazard, London. Ford's a safe play. I think London I'd shoot for upside with. If it was me, I'd put London in there, shoot for the upside. However, if I'm iffy on it, I don't like London, and I want to play a little bit more safe, I'd go Ford. Wow, Evan Ingram out. Yep. I read that earlier. Thank you, Live Creation. Michael Johnson, Spears or Chuba? Spears or Chuba? I think I'd go with Spears. I think it's a coin flip. I'm leery on the Carolina Panthers. I think they're going to be playing from behind, and Chuba's losing snaps to Miles Sanders right now, at least as of week 1. And as we the press conferences, they don't care what these running backs did last year. And Miles Sanders was hurt last year, but this is a new coaching staff. They don't care about last year. They care about Jonathan Brooks, getting things tweaked up for the future. They're going to roll with the hot hand. I like Spears a little bit more, but it's kind of like a tit for tat situation. For me, I believe one of them is probably going to score like 1 or 2 fantasy points more than the other. So pick which one you rather have. I'd pick Spears. Hurst or Foster Monroe? Hurst or Foster Monroe, eh? Let me check this. Hayden Hurst, Carolina. 4 for 4 as Hayden Hurst ahead of Foster Moreau against Cowboys. I would go Hurst. I would go Hurst. Just because of that Carolina game script. I would do that. Palmer's banged up but playing. That could lead to them going to over the middle a little bit more. The over the middle might get exploited a little bit more. Hurst could be the guy for you there. That could be it. Also, when you look at tight end start sit decisions, even last week, most weeks, when you look at tight ends, the tight end 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in the rankings scoring wise is only a few points more than the tight end 25. So just shoot for upside. And when that tight end with upside fails and they only score like 3 points, that 3 points is only like 6 points away from the tight end 12, 9, 8, whatever in the rankings that week. It was like that last week. It's like that almost every week. The tight end position is goofy like that, especially when you're talking about the marginal tight ends and not the top tier tight ends. Down by 30, need to shoot for ultimate upside. Already started Tariq. Who would you start? Stevenson, Ford, Aaron Jones, Monty, Dobbins. All right. I don't know how many to start. I'm going to let's say the guys I like for upside. My camera just froze. Can you guys even hear me? So my camera froze. I don't know how long it's out. Let me see if I can mess with my camera here. All right, let's see here. Is it this one? I'm going to fix this camera real quick. Turn this on. See if it fixed. It says I don't have live. Cancel. My camera froze. I can't switch the camera. Settings. That just goes to monetization. Still have audio. Okay, you guys can hear me. Let me see if I can fix this up. This don't work. Webcam. Channel level settings. Those settings just want stream. You don't have access. I don't really want to end it because then it'd just be weird. You guys got to click back in. It's so weird. Studio. What does that mean? 18 current viewers. I don't care about that. I want the now. It just needs to let me add it to the stream here because I'm just right into the YouTube area. What if I can do it this way? Go through dashboard so I don't lose you guys and it can fix it. Your videos. live. Connecting stream software. All right. All right, let's see here. All right, we're just gonna have to. Is it cool if we roll with it this way, and I'll just read off the questions? So here we go. Evan Ingram out, down by 30. I need to shoot for ultimate upside. Who should you start? Stevenson, Ford, Aaron Jones, DJ Moore. I don't know how many players you need, MH. So ultimate upside players for sure. Harrison's good matchup that could have volume. Let's see here. Laporta's in a good matchup with good volume. Monty's in a good matchup and goal line upside. DJ Moore, Fed targets, you just got to hit. Devonta Smith, AJ Brown out. There's 5 right there with the most upside. Stevenson, Ford, Aaron Jones, upside-wise, they'd have to score touchdowns. They're all in tighter matchups. Vegas has them as a lower scoring option. All right, next one. Richard, with Ingram out, I have Chigakonkwu currently starting. Stay with him or pivot to Otten, Aiken, Hurst, or Ertz. That's a good one. I think really when you're looking at those tight ends, you're looking at who will score the touchdown. You're not going to be able to predict that. And if I'm saying who I would like better than him, I think it'd be a toss-up. He's got the Jets this week. Ertz has that matchup against the Giants, and we're seeing if that matchup breaks. So don't know what's going to happen there. We'll see if that matchup breaks or not. If it was me between the two, I'd coin flip it. I feel a little safer that Chigakonkwu will get something. But I'd probably personally do Ertz, I think. What's next? Mimsy, Josh Palmer, Jahan Dotson with AJ Brown out. I think the question with Josh Palmer is how much run he gets, and that's a slow volume game. I think Jahan Dotson, I question how much work he actually gets. Like if he gets any of it. Like if he gets any work. That would be my question. Palmer's a little safer. It's just for you, especially if the matchup in Carolina. I think I'd go safe with. Thank you guys for checking in. You guys can still hear me. Cooks versus Reed. Cooks. Reed. So Brandon Cooks versus Reed. I feel a little bit safer with Brandon Cooks. I think Reed's going to be okay. I think he'll be fine over the long term. But if I got another wide receiver that's getting targets and they're getting targeted deep downfield, that's probably what I'm going to roll with. So if it's me personally, I think I'd do Cooks. All right, things are slowing down here. So my webcam froze up, but I'm still a bit available to answer questions in the chat, and you guys can hear me good. So feel free to drop all your questions down below. On top of that, it's not allowing me to fix my webcam because it's up and rolling. Like it's not giving me a toggle to update it. I can share it, window entire, but it's not allowing me when I go to webcam to update it. I'm trying to go in the back end. Let me double check again here. Let's see here. Yeah, guys, I'm here. Just drop your questions in the chat. I'm going to be reading off questions as well. So I'm going to just write something in the chat and pin it. So camera froze. And then here we go. Thank you, Greg. During these trying times with a frozen camera, full PPR, should I start Anthony Richardson or Jalen Hurts? I pick. I think it's going to be tighter, but Anthony Richardson's matchup. I also like Jalen Hurts' matchup as well for fantasy production. And looking at what I'm looking at here, looking at other rank, I think it's a coin flip because they're both great. It's a great situation. Like, you're not messing up with either guy. That's the thing about that. If I had to pick, I'd go with Hurts. But you're not messing up if you want to go the other way. You're good either way. They're both great. It's a great situation. It's great to have long term. I think you can coin flip it if you even want. If you told me the other, I wouldn't look funny at you. I think you're in a great situation. I think they're both going to score a lot of fantasy points. I think if I had to, I'd pick Hurts. But you're good either way. I think you're in a great shape with those quarterbacks. All right. Drop your questions and comments down below. I'm going to pin this one. I don't know if pinning helps. If you guys see it better. Pin message so people see it. So I pinned it up top. Full PPR. Oh, wait. Here we go. Jay Green, what's going on? Monty or Pittman flex? I think Pittman's in a matchup where he'll give you something. I don't know how capped the upside will be in this matchup. Honestly, Malik Willis, they're on the road at least, where Pittman could get his targets and still get pushed. That's on the Packers side to where that could help Malik Willis a little bit. So what I would think, I like Monty this week. I think I'd roll Pittman, though. I think I'd roll Pittman still. I think it could be a funny matchup here. Like, if Malik Willis shows up and plays better than expected, you're going to want Pittman in your lineup. I think even if Malik Willis is bad, I think you'll probably at least love that you got the snaps and routes out of him. So I would roll with that. I think Monty's got upside. I think Monty has the potential to outscore him, but if you're looking at pure safety, yeah, I think I'd start Pittman, though. There's just a lot of question marks with these matchups. Thank you for the question, though. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to drop your questions in the chat, guys. My camera froze here. What we got here? I'm going to go to the other stream here. Amari Cooper or George Pickens? I go George Pickens. I'm feeling a little bit safer with that. I know he's at least going to get 5 targets. Those targets are going to be deep. Matchup going to be a little bit better. Make sure to smash that screen for the like button on this one. Godwin, Mike Evans, Devonta. Ooh, there's a lot going on there. Mike Evans for sure. Devonta 2. Let me double check here. I don't. You got a lot of good wide receivers. All of them, but Amari Cooper, you're really good with. I can't stomach benching Jamar. I also like Godwin in his matchup. Mike Evans too. If Godwin hits, Mike Evans is likely to hit. Probably Jamar, Mike Evans, Godwin, then Devonta if you're going to rank them. If you're going to roll with that, that's probably what I would do. Demarcus Robinson or Dotson. Demarcus Robinson, because I believe he's going to be in on more routes. Neighbors over Devonta Smith, I believe. I think Neighbors is locked in for a good target share. I think it's a good push with them. At flex, should I start Zeke today? Xavier Worthy has more upside. Xavier Worthy's in a matchup where the Bengals have been calling him out on defense. I feel like he's got that pep in him where he's just going to funnel it downfield anyways. I would push that Xavier Worthy button on my lineups. I would do that. I would definitely do that if that was me. Tyler Johnson or Gabe Davis. The thing about Gabe Davis is he got that Browns matchup, and I don't like that. Tyler Johnson got work and targets last week. We don't know 100% if that's going to hold up. I'm not talking about the catches or the fantasy points, but if we got the work of last week, I would roll Tyler Johnson. Let me see here. Tyler Johnson, wide receiver 53 in the rankings versus receiver 50. So they're a coin flip. Coin flip players. My gut went with Tyler Johnson. I honestly think there's more volume in the Rams-Cardinals game and more potential for fantasy points in that matchup. The Dolphins game was a little bit slow with Jacksonville last week, and now they're playing another slow team with a very good defense. So the odds of that game, because Davis needs the game script pushed for him to go off, because he's a deep ball guy, and he's a splash wide receiver because he can go off. He usually goes off about 5 games a year, and this is again. I feel a little safer with Tyler Johnson. Reading off some more, moving down the chat here. Dobbins or DK? DK. Zeke or Zamir? I'd go Zamir White over Zeke. Dell, Kirk, Dotson. I have them ranked as you have them. I'd definitely go Dell. Definitely pick the best one. Let's see here. I'm getting to Olave, Jay Williams, Worthy. Olave and Worthy. Kyle. Tank Dell or Jaden Reed? Tank Dell. Jerry Judy. Coin flip on the situation. For this week. Big coin flip on that one. Probably Jaden Reed. I like Jaden Reed more in the offense. Home game. Kyler Baker Goff. Start 2. Quarterback 2 QB. I would go Jared Goff and Kyler. I would go Jared Goff and Kyler. What are your thoughts with Jaden Reed and Malik Willis? I think Jaden Reed's a gamble. I think Jaden Reed is likely going to be winning in the target share department. I do not know what that looks like. I do not know what that's going to look like with Malik Willis. I believe Jaden Reed's probably going to get funneled the targets in this offense. From what I see from Jaden Reed, especially when scouting him coming out of college, he broke out with 2 different collegiate programs, Western Michigan and Michigan State. He excels at both making plays downfield at the catch point, and he also excels at creating separation off the break. I believe that he'll get the looks. He'll get looks in this offense, but the thing is, it's all Malik Willis. I'm not 100% trusting that, but I really want to watch and see what happens there. Bucky Irvin or Jaleel McLaughlin. Bucky Irvin's in a great situation to do well in his second game. I think Jaleel McLaughlin is a safer play, though. I think Jaleel McLaughlin's in another situation where if things go awry, he might be getting targets in the Speltzer. I would go Worthy over Ford. I would definitely do that. I'm scared to start too. I'm not confident. There's a lot of start-sit decisions that I'm looking at for people, and I'm going the other way. There's a lot of them. And there's also a few of them where I'm like, Reed, if you want to feel safe, I feel like he's going to get a couple targets. I got to verify my stream here real quick, which is hard on a phone. Got it. So he's one of those where your stomach's going to churn when you start him. Who should I start? Alex, Josh Jacobs, or Jordan Mason? I feel good with both running backs. I think you're going to feel good with both running backs. So let me check the rankings for you because that's tight, and I like them both. So if your gut was saying go Mason, they got Mason as RB11, and they actually got Jacobs ranked below him at RB20. You know what? Go with Jordan Mason. I feel the same. I was kind of thinking the same thing. My gut said that right when I read that, but my head went with Josh Jacobs, like the security and safety. I think Both running backs are going to get workload. I think both running backs are going to be good. I think both running backs are going to get opportunity. I think both running backs are going to do good things for you. And if you're looking for pure upside, I think San Francisco can rout Minnesota, especially in this matchup. I think Jordan Mason can have another good week. I'd go Aaron Jones for your flex, man. Julian. Zach Moss or Demarcus Robinson. Zach Moss is a shade safer. Demarcus Robinson for more upside. You're more betting on that game to break open. And if that happens, I'd go with that. Sutton or Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard. That's an ugly one. I think I'd go with Sutton on that one. Zach Moss. Oh, wait, I just read that. Ridley or Reed have to start. I'd go with Ridley. He's good for a 20% target share. I feel a little safer with that. He's got rapport with the quarterback and just has to bring a couple in. Reed, I want to see what happens with that. But if you want to gamble, go ahead. Let's see here. Looking down. Jameson, Ladd, or Worthy. Worthy, Ladd, then Jameson. Pick 2, DK, DJ, Worthy, and Garrett Wilson. No, wait. Garrett Wilson and Zay Flowers, if you want to play it safe. If you're shooting for upside, I'd go Garrett Wilson and Worthy. Trey McBride over Bowers, London or Rashad White. Jahan Dotson or Greg Dortch. Colts defense or Eagles defense. Jordan Love is out. The thing about both matchups is I think Colts has some players out on defense, and the Eagles is in a high over-under scenario where that game script could break. I would choose the defense going against the new quarterback and hopefully pick the Colts. Hey, Alex, what's going on? Would Ladd be a risky start? A little bit not. There's a little bit unknown. He's in his second. He's got Quentin Johnston and Palmer to compete with on the routes. Quentin Johnston ran a lot of routes last week. You also got Palmer, who's coming back from that injury. We do not know how much he's going to be impacted. I look for Ladd to be okay. Depending on what you're looking at him against, like I wouldn't pit him against the top 20 wide receivers or top 25 when you look at the rankings. But after that, considering the game script, that's really what's going to impact him. But he's also got a matchup where it could break. And if it breaks with Carolina, then this could be the splash game for him. So he's risky, but he's also risky if you don't think positively in his light too, because that game script could break. And he got targets in his first game. He's going to get workload. I don't think he's risky in a sense, but he's also in a situation for a week 2 splash if things break his way. He's going to be out there on routes. He's going to be getting opportunity. Ladd McConkey is just more of an unknown right now. I think we're going to get deeper into the season. We're going to look at the routes ran and the targets and scripts like this. He's probably a guy that's going to be a good fringe flex. Richie Rich, thank you for watching. When Spears, Dowdle, or Chase Brown. Spears, Dowdle, or Chase Brown. I think this is a coin flip situation. It's PPR. Thinking this through and thinking about what Justice Hill and what the Ravens did with the Chiefs, and if the Bengals looked at what they did and want to mimic some of it, I wouldn't do all of it because they have Jamar Chase and the Ravens don't. I would try and get the ball out quickly. I would try to get it out fast. I would try to get it out underneath. And if you're looking at that, and if that's something what teams want to do against the Chiefs, Chase Brown should be getting some targets. PPR. I think Chase Brown's a good upside bet. I don't think the rest of the running backs have as much upside. Dowdle, you just got to hope he crosses the goal line. Spears is sharing the backfield, and we're not trusting the quarterback play. So between those two, I would be really debating between Dowdle and Chase Brown. I think I'd roll Chase Brown and just pray that he gets targets and used a little bit more in the passing game. So, Wolf, what's going on, man? Last one. You can ask as many as you want, buddy. I'm here for you guys. But Dunze, Demarcus Robinson or McMillan, pick two. Pick two. The Dunze one's funny. Dunze had a target last week. It was a short target where if that would have connected, he would have housed it. He was inches away. Let's see here. Let's see. Can't remember. The thing about Romo Dunze, from what Adam Schefter said 6 hours ago, is a game time decision for Sunday's matchup. Game time as in more could leak out. Odunze is tracking the play per sources. Looking at your matchup here, I don't know if you want to run it back to Demarcus Robinson and McMillan. No, wait, they're not in the same matchup. Demarcus Robinson and McMillan. I like McMillan's matchup. I do a lot against Detroit. And then Odun. I don't want to bench Odunze, especially if Keenan Allen's going to be out and if Romo Odunze is on track to be in. I don't want to do that. If you're feeling weird about the injury, I would go to Demarcus Robinson and McMillan. If you're not, I would go. I'd go to Demarcus Robinson and Odunze. Shane, what's going on, buddy? CJ Stroud or AR? Half PR. I feel a little safer with CJ Stroud, probably week in and week out. No, wait, I'm scratching. I'm going AR. I'm going up with the upside. I think this is a good matchup. I think the Colts could, against the Packers, get up in this game. You can get some good rushing production out of AR. I think it's tight, though. I think this is a great situation with these quarterbacks, and you can really close your eyes and pick them. They are due to the rushing. With Sean, with the tight ends here, I think I would go with, because you got Dallas versus Taysom Hill. You got Parkinson. I'm starting to get the matchups mixed up in my head a lot. Cardinals. So Cardinals more of a run funnel, higher over under for that match. That game script could break a little bit. It could be a fun one. Honestly, it's whoever crosses the goal line. You're not going to be able to predict that, and that's just how it is with these types of tight ends here. I feel better with the Rams moving the ball against the Cardinals. I do for the Saints against Dallas. I feel better about that. If I had to, I would pick Parkinson, but honestly, it's a coin flip between them. So if you want to go Hill, go with Hill. You're good with that. Mr. Croissants, Purdy or Baker. Let me look at the rankings for that, because I don't want to be biased. I kind of like Baker neck and neck. So I like Mayfield's matchup, and I put myself in line when I look at his numbers against Detroit. His last few times against Detroit is he only had like 250-ish yards passing in each game. But you also got Purdy, great weapons against Minnesota on the road, so maybe Minnesota can push him a little bit more. Who could just road dog him early and score a lot of points and crush him. I like Mayfield's matchup, but I can definitely see how Purdy can outscore Mayfield. Yeah, Ayuk, you got Debo, Kittle. It's neck and neck in projections. If I had to pick, Honestly, you can close your eyes and pick one. That's the real answer. If I had to pick Purdy just seems safer to me. Just for some reason, I think Baker has more upside with the matchup. But I think Purdy, realistically, fighting my biases with that matchup, I think Purdy's a little safer, and I think he still has upside if they. So, yeah, Vikings secondary, no CMC for Purdy. Let's see here. London versus Flowers versus Worthy. Half PPR. If I'm picking one, if I had to rank them, because that's a good dilemma to have actually. If I'm playing safe, I'm going London and Flowers. If I had to go with the upside, London and Worthy. If I had to pick the best one for the week and roll with it, oh, Flowers I feel safe getting workload. London, I know workload more than likely going to be there in this matchup, but the whole Kirk Cousins things. But there's upside with that. If I had to pick the best one out of three for half PPR, playing it safe with some upside to go London. However, my gut's going Worthy due to the upside. If my lineup is jacked everywhere else and I'm good to go, I'm going London. If I have one question mark, if I'm iffy at one of my running back spots, tight end, one of the wide receivers, I'm throwing Worthy in there. I think Worthy's going to get opportunity. I think Worthy has enough upside to explode. That's how I would look at that strategy wise. That's how I would. So there are realms would because I've probably looked at it multiple times this week in some of my lineups. I think there were times I put London ahead of Worthy, and there were times I put Worthy ahead of London, and it was due to that. It was like I looked at the lineup and it was like I don't 100% these two running backs. I don't 100% trust them, and I'm going to put in Worthy. And then I look at my running backs and I'm like, you know what? I'm good. These wide receivers, I'm good. I'm just going to put in London because I believe the ball's going to go to the outside a little bit more in this matchup. Last week, they targeted the slot more because the Steelers are not great at covering the slot, and teams are going to look to scheme up against that. And that's how we saw Ray McLeod get all those targets over the slot. So I think the ball's going to be on the outside a little bit more. Eagles shouldn't be as pass funnel as last year overall when we look at the season because they added some upgrades to the secondary, but it should be a little bit as some of this upgrades, especially through the draft, develop. So look for them to push it downfield a little bit as they game plan off of what they saw last year. Flex, Jameson Williams or Zach Charbonnet? Sammy, if I wanted to play it safe, I'd go Zach Charbonnet. If I'm shooting, like if I want to just guarantee myself 10-ish fantasy points, 10, 11, 12, somewhere in that range, I'd go Zach Charbonnet. However, if I want to shoot for 20 plus with the downside of 5, Jameson Williams. If I want one scenario over the other, that's what I would go for. It really depends on your lineup and who you're going against too. For waiver wire advice for in a 10-team league, full PPR league with 2 flex spots, should I pick up Dowdle to stash, prop options, Chase Brown, or drop? I only want Dowdle if Zeke goes down, and that's the thing about that. I don't think Dowdle has the athleticism or the upside to be a league winner unless he's just getting funneled work in some of the softer matchups. I know forecasting Dallas, I know the matchups were a little bit tighter going into the season. Chase, Dowdle, is it full PPR? Chase, Dowdle, kind of like a push. Brown. Gus, I'd rather have Gus most right now. So I want to see that one through. I want to see him in more matchups. Is that Caleb Williams? If that's Caleb Williams and and that's your second quarterback, you're good at your first quarterback. I'm always cool with dropping the second quarterback for that upside play at running back or wide receiver. That's what I would do. I usually don't draft a second quarterback, and I just keep drafting wide receivers and running backs. So if you're looking for Dowdle, that's the one I would do. And if something happens to my starter, or if it's bye week time, I just play the best quarterback off the waiver wire with the best matchup and pray for the best. That's what I would do, especially if it's a 1 QB league. Going on, Steven. Also, with A.J. Brown out, who should I start as my second flex, full PPR? Absolutely safe is Gus Edwards for a little something. And then it's between Demarcus Robinson and McConkey. And what makes him a little less safe than Edwards is the flow of targets. However, Gus Edwards isn't as safe for the upside. So if you need an upside swing here, it's probably Demarcus Robinson. And if it was me setting lineup, and if I have any questions about running back or wide receiver, Demarcus Robinson. If I'm stacked at running back, wide receiver, I'm just going to push that Gus Edwards button and just take the touches he's going to get up the gut. Hopefully, it crosses the goal line and play that bet. For a little bit more upside, I go Demarcus Robinson. If you just want to get out with some touches, feel a little bit safe with your selection, Gus. I think when I look at my lineups and stuff, I think a lot of times since week 2, I'd be selecting Gus Edwards, but there are some where they're broken where I go Demarcus Robinson. Steeler Nation, what's going on? Goddard or Brian Thomas Jr.? I like Brian Thomas Jr. overall as a prospect. I think he's got that Will Fuller. It's any given week he can score you 20. I don't like the matchup this week. A.J. Brown's out. Goddard, a little bit safer. Brian Thomas Jr. is always that gamble bet, and that I guess matchup may not matter on that, just whether or not he brings in those deep targets. I feel a little bit safer for Goddard over the middle, especially for the goal line work. Thank you, Travis, for watching and for the question. Drop as many as you guys want or whatever you want. I'll answer anything. Geno or Fields? Cooper or London? For me, I would do Fields over Geno. And because I want to shoot for that upside in this matchup. He does well against the Broncos. And if Bo Nix does not do well in his second game, then this could lead to Fields just going off. I look for Fields to run it 10 times at least. And usually when he does that, he gives you QB1 performances. And then Cooper Kupp or London, I would go Cooper Kupp. I would definitely go Cooper Kupp. However, if you want to play it safe at quarterback, I'd go Geno because Fields is a little bit risky, but I will go after risk. But if you want to know what I'd do Fields. If you want to know what you want to do because it's safe, smart, and sound, Geno. But I would shoot for the upside with Fields. JR, Watson, Deontay Johnson, or Palmer. Pick one. I would go Deontay Johnson just for the target share and just roll with that. Just for this game to break and him I feel like the targets will be there. He's going to have his moments up and down. I think he's going to be like Deontay Johnson like he was in Pittsburgh, where he's going to give you wide receiver 3 to wide receiver 2 games most of the time. And it's going to average out to be okay, but nothing to really win your league with. I'd shoot for that upside with Neighbors. Not really in that great matchup. But Chubb is safe. Charb is safe for that 10 to 12 points. For me, I'm more of an up. I would personally do Neighbors. But if you want that 10 to 12 point, because I feel like it's very safe with that. I look for this to be a slow matchup, slow game pace. Patriots very locked down against the running back. He's going to get the volume, though. So I would go Charb if you wanted to do that. Personally, I would do Neighbors a lot. Would you start Lockett or Alec Pierce? I would go Lockett. I feel a lot safer with Lockett. Thank you guys for the questions. What's up, Jay Reed? Or neighbors for sure. Neighbors for sure over Jay Reed. Here we go. Full PPR, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. 1 wide receiver plus 1 flex. We got Pittman versus Packers, Marvin versus Rams, Ford versus Jaguars. If you want to go safety and security, Pittman, Ford. If you need upside, Pittman, Harrison. If you want to feel safe when you set that lineup that you're at least going to get baseline production that's not going to kill you, Pittman and Ford. If you need one to go off, you need to have Harrison in there. Ford's going to get those rushing touches. It's going to make him safe, and those touches are going to add up to more opportunities to cross the goal line for you, which could happen, which could lead to good fantasy production. But if you want sheer upside, this ball is going to go out to the outside wide receivers more in this matchup. Should be a faster-paced game. Marvin Harrison Jr. should have a lot of upside for you there. If it was me, Pittman or Harrison, Ford or Harrison, if I want that upside play, Ford and Harrison for sure. But if I really want to play it safe, Pittman and Ford. Because Pittman's safe. He's going to get good targets. Ford's going to get workload. That's probably your answer, honestly. That's probably your answer, Pittman and Ford. But if you're getting ragdogged by your guy you're playing against who started those Dolphins who went off, or if you're hurting at running back or something, then you may want to add in Marvin Harrison Jr. Stevenson is very safe when it comes to touches and workload. I think Ayuk's good this week. I think they ragdoll the Vikings. I think I'd shoot for Ayuk. Daniels or Murray. I do Murray. Demarcus Robinson or Austin Eckler for flex. I feel a little bit safer with Austin Eckler. I feel like it's a bit of a coin flip, though. I'm going to be right back. You guys can't see me anyways, but I'll be right back. They close the door on you guys? Your phone's off. All right, I'm back. So my dog was in a cone because he had surgery. I opened the door, and I thought he peed on the floor, but it was his cone because it's down the hall a little way. So I'm kind of wondering what happened there. So that's interesting. So he doesn't have his cone on. He had his man parts worked on. I forget what that's called. So that's interesting. Demarcus Robinson, Austin Eckler, I feel a little bit safer with. Demarcus Robinson's good in this matchup too. They're actually a coin flip. Thank you guys for the questions. I'm going to work this other chat here. Let's go down here to the recent ones because other people left. Whoops. Let's see. Bowers or Aaron Jones? Aaron Jones is in a very tough matchup. Bowers is getting targets and opportunities. Aaron Jones safer. Bowers got a lot more upside this week. So if you want to feel comfy with the touches and workload, start Aaron Jones. I think Bowers, I'd shoot with him if you want the upside, if that's what you're looking for in the flex. Brown really out. Ingram's out. Tough matchup. So you may feel a little safer with Kirk. I think Ridley's safe as well. It's a coin flip between the two. Ridley's always going to be safe for 20% of the targets. I would personally start Ridley. Bowers or Andrews? I would start Mark Andrews. It's a little safer. Worthy or Godwin? Godwin's a lot safer than Worthy, but Worthy's got a lot more home run hitting upside this week. All right, it's about 1 o'clock. I'm going to go watch the games. I want to thank you guys for watching, asking these questions. If there's a last few, Chase or Godwin, Chase for upside, Charbonnet or Worthy. I go with Worthy for the upside. Here. All right, guys, I'm going to drop off on the YouTube chat real quick. We're going to end this stream. Thank you guys for watching. I'll have more videos out. I'll have one out tonight probably, and then a bunch tomorrow. Thank you guys. Catch you next week.